Bashar al-Assad issues a legislative decree delaying the payment of the installments due on dealers with public banks who have joined the reserve military service. Our armed forces continue their national task in clearing the homeland of terrorism. The Israeli occupation authorities approved the establishment of 942 new settlement units in occupied Jerusalem. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. President Bashar al-Assad issued a legislative decree number 56 of 2013, which stipulates the delay of the payment of the installments due on dealers with public banks who have joined the reserve military service till the end of their service. The decree also stipulates that the dealers subject of this decree will also be exempted from interest and delay penalties due on them during the period of their reserve military service. Our armed forces continue to pursue terrorists in Latakia suburbs. The armed gangs try to ambush and attack the news crew to prevent them from conveying the reality of their crimes. The news team had headed with army units to Beit Shakouh village when they were exposed to fire shots and sniping. The army launched a wide-scale operation, as a result eliminating a large number of the terrorists who set fire to the forests in the area. In Damascus suburbs, the army destroyed a mortgage gun and a bulldozer in Barze, eliminating a number of terrorists near Tallet Mistah and the farms surrounding Tishrin Hospital. The army also killed the members of the terrorist group in Arbin and carried out operations against terrorists' hideouts in several areas in eastern Ghouta. In Damascus suburbs, the armed forces seized terrorist hideouts in Daraya, which contained weapons, ammunition, modern communication devices, and stolen and smuggled medical equipment. Several terrorists were killed. The army also found military uniforms which the terrorists used in order to pin their crimes on the Syrian Arab Army personnel. The army today destroyed a warehouse of weapons and ammunition and several tourists' hideouts in Deir ez-Zor and its suburbs, killing and wounding a number of armed men. An official source said that an army unit clashed with a terrorist group who tried to infiltrate into al-Sana'a and al-Rasafa neighborhoods, killing most of the members of the group, including a sniper nicknamed al-Sana'a Sniper. A tourists' gathering was also destroyed near the municipality building and the surroundings of Bimo Bank, in the main street of the city. The source added that an army unit destroyed a terrorist gathering in Al-Ma'arraya village and a heavy machine gun. The army also eliminated terrorists in the ancient airport and Al-Jbail neighborhoods, as well as in Cinema Fuad Street. The army killed terrorists in Al-Huwaika, including the leader of Jabhat al-Nusra linked gang. In Hama, our armed forces intercepted the attempts of terrorists from Jabhat al-Nusra to attack army barricades on Hama Aleppo Road. Meanwhile, a number of terrorists were killed when their car blew up. They were trapping it with explosives inside a hideout in Al-Hardana village in Al-Salamiya suburbs. Al-Ghazlaniya miles in Damascus suburbs, where the terrorists wreaked havoc, will be put into service again to meet citizens' needs as soon as possible. The area, which is situated in eastern Ghouta, has witnessed unsuccessful attempts by the armed terrorist gangs to put it under their control, particularly the services installations, including Al-Ghazlaniya mines and the grains soils, which constituted a strategic target for them. However, their attempts failed due to the Syrian Arab Army, who destroyed their vehicles that had been prepared to continue the stolen wheat. The governor of Damascus suburbs, Hussein Makhlouf, inspected the mines, getting briefed on the bulk of the devastation by the people in charge, calling on them to participate in the maintenance works. Al-Ghazlaniya mines used to feed Damascus and its suburbs with flour, which is one of the most important needs of the citizens. The American Chief of Staff, General Martin Dempsey, has admitted that the Syrian opposition is under the control of the terrorists of Al-Qaeda organization and Jabhat al-Nusra. Dempsey's words were quoted by Israeli press and political sources following his meetings with Israeli officials during his current visit to occupied Palestine, within a tour that also includes Jordan. Dempsey said the USA is watching what is happening in Syria through satellites and is worried over the control of the so-called Jabhat al-Nusra and al-Qaeda organization over the armed oppositions in the country. Dempsey affirmed full coordination between the USA and Israel regarding their plans against Syria, adding that his country will not take any military step towards Syria except after coordination with Israel first. The Israeli occupation authorities continue to jeopardize the occupied Arab lands through increasing their settlements' construction projects. They announced today their intention to establish 942 new settlement units in occupied Jerusalem as they are resuming negotiations with the Palestinians. This raises the number of the settlement units endorsed by the Israeli occupation authorities over the past 3 days to 2,129. American Secretary of State John Kerry admitted during a press conference with his Colombian counterpart in Bogota the illegality of all settlements. However, he called on the Palestinians not to respond negatively. The Russian Foreign Ministry, on its part, considered the Israeli plans to establish new settlement units in the West Bank and the occupied Jerusalem as an unconstructive step and complicates the negotiations with the Palestinians, affirming that such Israeli projects are illegal from the international law viewpoint and Russia does not recognize them. In Egypt, armed men today attacked police stations and security headquarters in Al-Arish city, north of Sinai, wounding 2 persons. The armed men fired missile shells at a police section in Al-Arish and pelted other security centers with locally made explosive devices. The personnel of Author police station in Al-Arish, together with the security guards of the police intelligence building, exchanged fire shots with some armed men as military helicopters flew over the city during the clashes. Ladies and gentlemen, after a short break, we'll be over with the economic news. President Bashar al-Assad issues a legislative decree delaying the payment of their national task in clearing the homeland of terrorism. The Israeli occupation authorities approved the establishment of 900 of the installments due on dealers with public banks who have joined the reserve military service. Our armed forces continue Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 42 new settlement units in occupied Jerusalem.